All right, good morning. Okay, I'm going to get started here. So today's training is on the agent websites in Command. And specifically, I'm going to go through how to set these up, how to customize, and some different ways that you can utilize these in terms of getting more traction online, and a great way to connect with clients and potential clients. So, all right, so let me get my screen all set up here and we'll get started. Okay. So everyone should be seeing my command account at this point. Okay. So to get started here, and I'm first going to go over more of the profile and the settings piece of it. So websites is the very last icon at the bottom of your screen on the left-hand side here. So if you hover over it, it'll say websites. And if you haven't set up your site or if you haven't set up your profile yet, it will prompt you to do that. And the first thing that you'll want to do is navigate over to settings. And you'll click on this manage settings. So I've already set up my marketing profile, which is what I reference this page as. It's technically called now website and app settings, but essentially this is your consumer facing profile. So if you haven't set this up yet, it'll look a little bit different. It'll just be kind of a walkthrough of uploading the necessary information that is needed. So it'll be uploading your headshot. If you have your own logo or are on a team, uploading that logo. You're verifying your phone number, your email, adding your bio, all things like that. So I can go in here at any time and I can update my contact information. So if I want to swap out a different KW Market Center logo, if I want to change my headshot, upload my own logo here, my details. So if I need to change my bio, I'll find that under details, my job title, my team, all of those are housed in here. Preferences. So these preferences are relating to your agent site. So these sections here, Keller Home Loans, Keller Covered, those are two things that show up when you click into a property on your website. So if I were to go to my website right now and I clicked on any property, those two, Keller Covered and Keller Home Loans, are going to show up right here. So if you didn't want those showing up on every property detail page, you could remove those. So you would just click to disable. If you didn't want neighborhoods to show up on your agent site, you could also disable that. I don't think it hurts to have these enabled. That's the default. If anything, it's providing more information and more of a lead capture opportunity if someone happens to click on those. Service areas. So this is where you can go in and actually designate the areas that you serve and get very specific there. So I believe you can draw around a radius and then within that get more specific. So I've set mine up already. You can also favor up to 10 areas. So I've gone ahead and done that, and it's just a matter of clicking on these and hearting the service areas to select those as your favorites. So if I go in here and edit, I can then favor some other areas. You'll see that I'm already at my capacity with those 10. So if I wanted to remove any, I would just unclick that heart and then I could click on another one to add that and change it. The one starred, that is actually going to show up on your About page as your location. So if I go back to my live website, go to the About Me section, that is where you're going to see that location. That is the location in that service area section that you have favored or starred specifically. All right, just make sure to save that if you do make those changes. There's also a legal footer and compliance section. For the most part, you don't have to worry about this, but I do recommend putting the verbiage, each office is independently owned and operated. It doesn't hurt to have that. That's just kind of the standard that we include on most marketing materials. Social media icon or links can be added in here. But if you're not on X, if you don't have a YouTube channel, just leave those blank. They're not going to show up. But if you do want to highlight your Facebook page, Instagram account, LinkedIn, you can add those links in there. Referral links. So this section is actually going to house your unique app URL. So the app URL is your consumer search app. So every agent has their own unique app URL that they can copy and then share out, whether you're texting it to somebody or most examples of where you would, when you would grab this is if you're creating a QR code for, let's say, a marketing flyer, a postcard, your business card, if you want that link on there. So you can grab this code, create a QR code for it so that when someone scans that QR code, they're then prompted to, if they haven't already, downloaded the Keller Williams consumer search app, create an account, and then you would show up as the agent within their app so that when they're searching for homes, they're clicking on properties, things like that, you're going to capture them as a lead into your command database, and you're going to be able to track their activity. So again, what homes are they searching for? What collections are they creating? And things like that. So it's a great lead capture opportunity with that link. All right. Then you have forced site registration. So on your agent website, you have the ability to set forced site registration, meaning if someone goes onto your site and they click on a third property, and let's say you have this set up as two properties. So a visitor will be able to view two properties on your site before being asked to register. So the moment they click on that third listing, they're going to be prompted to register and create an account on your website. Again, it's more of that lead generation. That lead would come into your command database once they've created an account on your website. Very similar to how they would on your consumer search app. But it is defaulted to unrestricted. So once you set up your site, if you don't want this turned on, don't worry, it's automatically set to unrestricted, meaning a consumer can go on your website and search for as many homes as they want. All right, and then you have your subdomain. So this is also the last thing that you're prompted to select when you're setting up your marketing profile. And this is going to be your website URL. So mine, for example, is lvranek.kw.com. So you could put in, let's just say, I could have done lindsayvranek.kw.com. You could do buy, sell, Milwaukee.kw.com. It all depends in making sure that no one else in the KW universe has that same exact URL. So if someone else happens to have the same name as you, just kind of keep that in mind if you're like, well, I can't even claim my name if you have a really like popular name. Sometimes that does happen. So just keep that in mind. So you can put anything in there if it hasn't already been claimed by another KW associate. All right, so that is the consumer facing profile. That is essentially setting the first step in setting up your website. So I'm just clicking back here. So once your subdomain is claimed and it's set up and good to go, now you can actually go in and start managing your website. And so to do that, back to that main website screen, I would click on Manage Website. And there are essentially two different ways or two different editors when it comes to your website. There's basic mode and there's expert mode. So I'm going to get into basic mode first. And this is what we're on right now. When you click on manage, it takes you directly into basic mode. And we're going to highlight a couple things in here first. And you'll see that it'll say over here, like visit expert mode for full access to your pages, settings, other controls. So we'll get to that in just a few minutes here. So first things first, under pages, I can click on homepage. And one of the first things I suggest doing is deciding what you want your homepage layout to be like. And you have a few options here. So if I click on default homepage, I've got three options. So the default is the search. So that's where you'll see, and this is previewing my site right now, but I have just kind of they call them hero images, those background images that you see on your homepage within the search bar. So that when someone goes on my site, they can search for a home right away. So they can just start typing in a city, a neighborhood, an address, their current location, and hit search. There's also an option to just select that hero image and then some more stats underneath that. So there's no search, there's no button, it's just kind of that static image with then some stats underneath. And then you have brand. So this is more so if you want a headline, but then just a button. And then you can also kind of customize it with some other content underneath. So those are the three different options that you have in terms of the homepage layout. So I would suggest going in here, playing around a little bit with what that's going to look like, and in terms of what your goal is when someone comes on your site. What do you want them to do? Do you want them to click a button? Do you want them to see stats? You want them to search for homes right away? So you can kind of go through and see what that looks like. So when you hover over this, you can select layout, you can preview the layout. So I can click on any one of those to preview. So I've got that one up here. So that's the brand layout with the headline, the button, and those types of things. Okay. So once you've selected that, so I'm going to keep it on that search for right now. Then you can click back. That's pretty much kind of the main thing that you would do here with the home page. So again, I'm clicking on the home page. You can also, these page sections, you can edit a little bit. The expert mode is going to have a little bit more ability in terms of what you're editing on your home page, but just to kind of showcase your options here. You technically can go in and edit the headline and description for each of these sections from the basic mode editor. For the banner, you can also add different images from here. And the great thing about this is that you can add up to 5 images, I believe, that scroll through. You can also just have one static image, like what you see I have right now. You could also upload a video. So this is really cool if you do have a video that you want to highlight to kind of go through in the background. You can choose your video source. So I think most people will do like upload video and then you can upload it. So let's say you had a great listing, you had some drone footage done, you could upload that. If you're like, I haven't had a listing yet, I don't have my own footage, a really great way to utilize this feature is to use Canva. And now that everyone has a KW Canva Pro account, you can go into Canva, and I'm just going to navigate in there right now because I'm going to bring up how you can grab video content from Canva. So it's really cool because you can search by video and so these apps right over here. So if you don't see the app, you would just search by, gosh, where is it? The apps over here. So you would find the apps and search video, and then you would get this section. So if I wanted to just search Milwaukee, you could search neighborhoods. There's a ton of content in here. So really cool to kind of play around and see what's in here. So let's just say I wanted to go in and add, okay, the Hone Bridge. This is pretty cool. And then I also designed this. What did I size this as? let's see here. So this is 72 inches by 36 inches. So it's pretty big, just to ensure that when it's on my website, it's not getting pixelated or anything. So then I'm just going to extend that video here, and I can preview that here. I can actually watch what it entails. So then if I wanted to then upload that video, all I'm going to do is click share, download, and I could download all three of these videos and upload them. I think for this case, I'm just going to download that current page that I'm on that I created. And I'm downloading that as an MP4 video. So I'm going to hit download. So that'll download to my computer. And it might take a little bit because it is a video. It's a high resolution video. It's a pretty big size. So I'm going to let that load, and then I can come back to that. But then this is where I would browse my computer and I would upload that video right in here. All right, the content, I can also kind of edit and do like a custom button if I wanted to, but for now I'll keep that with that search bar. You have the option to hide the for rent tab when you are searching. Click back out here. Yep, close without publishing. The next few sections here, you have featured properties, testimonials, and blog articles. So the preview will kind of show me what I'm looking at too, in terms of those sections. So featured listings, here for my clients, Lindsay's real estate blog. So those are all like headlines that I've edited. So if I click on this, I can change that headline and title. Same thing goes for the description. You can also change your center point for how those featured listings feed in. I will just say though too, the expert mode will give you even more capabilities in terms of how featured listings are fed in, including if you wanted to specifically just highlight your own listings. So I'm going to show that more in the expert mode. But again, if you just wanted to keep it really simple and just do a center point with a 10-mile radius from Wauwatosa or whatever location you want to put in here, you totally can. You can also do price range. So those are the two criteria that you can select for your featured listings within basic mode. All right, so if I click back, testimonials, you're just changing the title and description. Expert mode is where we're actually going to select the testimonials that you're adding in here. And then blog, again, same thing, title, description. If you want to actually write your own blog post, that'll be in a different section. Let me click back into banner. And let's see if I can upload that video. So I'm going to choose upload video, browse my files. I found it. It downloaded to my computer. So I have that selected. It's going to load in there. So again, it's not abnormal for it to take a little bit. Okay. So it's in there and it should preview, it should update, but it might just take a little bit there. Sometimes if you make changes, hit publish if you're ready for that. May help it move along too, but we'll kind of give it a little bit. There we go. Okay, cool. So now I've got my preview and I can see that video that I uploaded. Perfect. So I'm going to hit publish again just because I like to publish and save as many times as I can just to be sure and make sure that I didn't forget to, or, you know, when in doubt, just hit it multiple times. That's my mentality. All right, so I'm going to click back again. The other thing that I want to go through in basic mode before we get to expert mode is this design studio section. So this little paint icon, I'm going to click on that. And you have two different, not necessarily layout options, but looks. So you have two looks to choose from. So there's classic and there's modern. So my site right now, I have selected as modern. So you'll kind of see the differences right from these two screens. For example, the featured properties section, those featured properties are a little bit more condensed on the page, whereas the modern section, it really just shows two properties at one point at one time, and they're a lot bigger. They expand on the screen a lot more. So if you like more of that modern look and you want to change that, the default is the classic, just so you know. So if you haven't touched your site, you're on the classic version right now. If you want to change it to modern, you can click on Edit Theme. You can also change up the color scheme if you want to change the font and also the way that the buttons and some of that content looks. You can change the corners. So mine currently, that is the color scheme, the fonts, and the corners that I have selected. So if I'm looking at my website, you will see, okay, this is how featured listings are feeding in. I've got the square corners and also down here. So like these fields are square. You can see the background's more of that beige color. So that's all from that modern theme that I selected. But if I wanted to change that, I could also change it to a darker view, different font. I could save those changes and publish. So then if I refreshed my screen, I should see, yep, so now I've got that dark background. And you'll see how that looks. So you can kind of play around with it. I've got that video in there. Even this is darker. So, and obviously my must have a logo here or something, but then I want to probably tweak a few things because I'm like, I don't really love this. So I might edit that theme again, go back to, maybe I'll do the carbon light version. And this time I'll do more of a rounded button theme, and I'll hit publish. All right. So those are just a few things I wanted to show in basic mode. Now we're going to navigate over to expert mode. So what that does is it actually opens up a new tab on your screen. And now we're getting into like the nitty-gritty of customizing your website. So the way that the page is laid out is you'll see at the top here a welcome, and you'll have a live link to your site. So I always recommend having your live site open as you're editing. Just as you're making changes and hitting publish, taking a look at that live site to see how those changes are reflected. Then you have the quick start section. So this is really helpful when you're kind of first learning it and understanding where to go, what to add. So anytime you want to add like a new blog post, a new custom page, you would just click on one of these to create those and get started. They also have some pre-made pages that you can add to your website. A couple of those that I recommend kind of having as a staple on your site. I think they're great for lead capture opportunities and just to share out with your clients. The first one is this home valuation page. And so what that looks like on the live site here, and I must have removed it from my site for a second, but I'm going to click on it. So if I want to add it, I'm just going to click on it. You'll see that it's pretty much built out already for you, which is nice. And okay, so because I already have this technically created, mine looks a little different. But the page title, description, everything. This is basically like if you look at this preview over here, ready to discover your home's value, that's built out already for you. But at some point I went in here and I customized it a little bit more. So that's where I must have uploaded this image in the header, which you can do. And then I added an additional text box. I'm going to delete that just for right now. So then this is more so what it's going to look like. It's just a very simple, to the point, like, let's find out what your home's value is. So the consumer would go in and enter in their home address, and they would be prompted to enter their name and their email and their phone number, I believe. But once they do that, they do get a number right away. They get that estimated value of what their home is worth. But then at the same time, you are then getting that lead. So you're getting notified of that lead. Hey, so-and-so submitted the home valuation. Here's the information they got. And then it's a chance for you to go contact them right away, and let them know that you can pull a full CMA, and provide that to them and have, more of that conversation on, okay, what is your home's value really worth? Like, these are the comps that I'm pulling, and hopefully get into more of those serious conversations about possibly getting that listing. But the way that all of these kind of pages are laid out when you're actually in there editing them, I just want to kind of go through that. So the left-hand side will have all of the editing features. The right-hand side is your preview. And so that's very consistent when you're editing your site, whether it's in basic mode or expert mode. So I can view my title, internal names. So if you want to kind of learn a little bit more about that, but I don't know why that says NA. It's kind of just going to default based on your page title. Internal name is more of those like page descriptions or like alt tags, when like search engines are picking up your site. Then you have your subtitle. And then here's that header. So that's where I was able to add that background image. And I went in and just hit add image, or if you need like a new photo that you want to upload. If I click add image, and if I click on that and search, this will actually pull up my library. So anything that I've ever added in here is going to show up, which is kind of nice. Some of these default images, background images, if I've added anything else, will show up in there. Like I just uploaded this one the other day. So if I wanted to select that, I could. Or if I wanted to do a new image, I could add a new image from my computer. So the internal name, and this is really important, I would say when you are adding new content to your site, is to add the internal name in the caption. That really helps with organic SEO, which is search engine optimization, just to ensure that Google, other search engines are picking up your website when people are searching. So I would do something like Lindsay Brannick, real estate agent with Keller Williams, Milwaukee. Brannick is a full service real estate agent with Keller Williams, serving the greater Milwaukee and Waukesha areas. Something along those lines. Again, you have your name, real estate agent, Keller Williams, Milwaukee, full service real estate agent, greater Milwaukee, Waukesha areas. Those are all those keywords in there. But anyway, essentially that is then tied to that image, where in the background, again, search engines are reading that and picking those up. So I could do new upload, choose, and then I'm going to pull from my computer. So I can just upload a new image and then just hit save. And essentially then that saves it to your image library within your agent site. So I'm going to click back. And let's just say, okay, well, I don't like this image. I'm going to remove it. So I'm just going to click that little minus button, because then that will bump up the other image. And there we go. So now I can see that reflected here. So I can hit publish. And once you're good with that, then that should actually publish to your live site. So it'll say saved. Great. I'm happy with that. And I'm going to click return to dashboard. So then it brings me back to that main screen here. The other custom page is this mortgage calculator. So I'm going to click on that. And this is really nice because it's fully built out. You don't have to do a thing. So here we go. It looks like the only thing I did was I added a different background image on here again. So same thing, just that page header, added an image, but not necessary. You don't have to. This page is still going to look very nice without that. So I'm going to hit publish again. Oh, what did I do? Okay, page title already exists. Okay, so in this case, I probably have multiple mortgage calculator pages. So it's just recognizing that I already have one created. Mortgage calculator 2. Just for this purpose, I'm gonna change that up a little bit. Hit that publish button again. And there we go. Return to dashboard. So I'm gonna click on my site again, and I'm gonna refresh this. Okay, so I did change that to a lighter version again, which I think looks much better. But then if I hover over more, I should have those pages in there. Maybe it's just taking a second. Yeah, probably. But usually once you hit publish, those additional custom pages are going to show up under that More tab. All right, so back in, oops, nope, that's basic mode. Okay, back in expert mode. So the other thing is underneath this edit your website section, you'll see all of your default pages, which also includes your homepage. Now, I've added too many custom pages in here to count, so mine is getting a little unorganized, I would say. So yours is not going to look like mine. But the next thing that I would suggest doing is editing the homepage a little bit more. So I mentioned in basic mode, you only have a few options in terms of editing those featured listings. You can only add the title and description for the testimonial section. So then if you actually wanted to go in and edit that, you'll see under custom pages, custom homepage, default homepage. That is going to be the link that you want to grab and open up to edit. All right. So then from here, and I'm just going to unexpand these, you've got contents. So each of these is going to represent the different sections on your homepage. The first one is that search module. So if you wanted to change that title, instead of search for your dream home, looks like I have a custom video on here, and it looks like I probably didn't publish it from here. That's why it's looking different from what I currently have. But again, if I wanted to switch back to just images, I could do that as well. And then I would just upload new images here. These are the like fallback hero content. So this is what your site is set up with initially. So these might look familiar to you. So those are in there if you ever want to use them again. Otherwise, you're uploading your own content. And the other thing I wanted to mention too, similar to how you can grab different video content from Canva, you can do the same thing with photos, which is really nice. Another resource is called unsplash.com, which is where you can find free stock images. So if you're looking for, just some nicer interior photos that are free to download, you can go to this site, and anything without this little insignia at the top here, you can click and you can download. So you could search for Milwaukee, you could search for home interiors, and you could just click, download, boom, download it to your computer. So just wanted to highlight this resource as well. Again, it's free. A lot of these photos are free. This one's free. This one, again, with that little icon on there, you do have to pay for. But otherwise, there is, for the most part, some really good content in here that you can download for free. Okay, so just that other resource that I wanted to show you guys. Okay, so I'll click back to custom video, and we're good there. So I'm gonna unexpand that. So featured listings. So I want to get to this really quick. So right now I have this set to dynamic. You could set that location point. You can choose the maximum number of properties to display and the mile radius. You can also pin listings. So if you want to specifically choose a listing based on the MLS number or property address, you would go ahead and enter those in there. You can also featured listings by either your listings. So if you have that MLS connection set up through your command account, I have noticed this being a little bit spotty sometimes. So in that case, to ensure that your listings are feeding in, sometimes I suggest just pinning them. So searching by MLS number and then selecting them here. You can also choose to just highlight Keller Williams Milwaukee listings as well. From there, if you want to get more specific, you can choose by listing category. So if you want to make sure that you're just feeding in for sale listings that are active, you can change that. Because right now my preview, it was showing sold listings, which I don't think does anything good. So we want actual active for sale listings on here. You can also choose by property type, bedroom, bathroom count, square footage, and you can also do, let's just say minimum, maximum price range as well. Yeah. So then as I'm making those changes, you'll see that that preview is just going to update automatically. All right, so those are the main things when it comes to the featured listing section. So once I'm done with some of those things, I like to hit publish right away, even if I'm not done with the entire page, just to make sure that I'm covering everything and that maybe I'm not missing anything. Because if I hit publish and I have a field missing, it'll tell me that right away. All right, testimonial list. So this is where if you wanted to add your own testimonials, you would go under featured testimonials and click add. So let's just say, you can add new, meaning you want to pull from your Google business page or Zillow or realtor.com, and you just want to copy and paste past testimonials to get started. You would click that new option and you would copy and paste right in here. So of course you're going to give yourself 5 stars. You're going to paste in the testimonial. I'm just going to create a fake one. All of mine on my website are fake. Lindsay was a great realtor to work with. So it does require first name. So I'm just going to put fake name in here. Typically just last initial. And then client since is required. So it makes you do like a specific date. So just try and get as close as possible. Don't worry about specifics. So let's just say, oh, I think I've been working with this person since April of this year. Set. And then once you're done filling that information out, you'll hit publish. Once you're done with that, click back. So it takes you right back into this editor here. And I'm going to select that testimonial. You'll see that now that one that I just created is in there. So I can select it and then hit publish if I'm done. The other thing too is let's just click on my live site here. Under this More tab, there is a default leave review page. So if you wanted to send people directly here, you could. And if someone is filling this out and they submitted it, so the thing with testimonials, it does not show up automatically on your site. You have to still go into here. There's another way to find these too, and I'll show you that in a second. But you would go back in here, add testimonial, and you should see that new one in there. So that essentially just kind of leaves you with the opportunity to ensure that only the best testimonials are showing on your website. If someone happened to leave a bad review, you don't have to publish that. You could delete it. All right, so that's testimonials. The other section that you can have displayed here is the blog. And guys, the other thing too is if you don't want one of these sections to be displayed on your homepage, you can change that to hide. So if you're like, I don't really need a blog, I don't really want to worry about that right now, you can hide that. So that does get removed from the homepage there. But the blog posts, there are 4 first-time homebuyer blog posts that are like defaults on your site, and you'll see those on there automatically. But again, you can highlight and remove certain ones if you don't want those showing. So it'd just be a matter of going in here. You'll see featured items, and you could remove whichever ones you didn't want. So you can display, and you'll notice when you're editing, sometimes it'll like look funky and then it'll revert back. So you can choose which ones are showing and which ones are not. So you can display up to 4, or you can just have 1 displayed as well. All right, the rest of this is really defaulted in terms of your contact information, your market center. That's all pulling from that marketing profile that we set up initially. So if you do need to make any changes to, let's say, your title, your phone number, your email, all of that is going to be under that manage settings section. All right, once I am satisfied with those changes, I'm going to hit publish again. All right. So I can either click return to dashboard, but if you made changes and you don't want to save them and that button isn't showing up here, you can always click on this KW logo at the top as well to get back. So the other thing too, and I mentioned this briefly, was let's just say you had a client submit a testimonial, you want to add it to your site. You also have this search bar at the top. And this is kind of going to search any pages, any sort of content that is associated with your website. So instead of going in to edit the homepage, what you could do is once you click on search, you've got the screen that pulls up. And under content type, you could then scroll down to testimonial. And then you're able to see the list of testimonials. So if you're like, oh, here's that new one, I want to make sure that it's displayed. So you would just check that off. So that's sometimes an easier way to sort of manage some of those things. Instead of having to click into a page, scroll down, click testimonials, featured, et cetera, et cetera. All right. You can also utilize this if you just wanted to either create a new testimonial. You could also, let's just say image, and you wanted to upload a new image, you could do it directly in here too. So if prior to creating any sort of custom pages, you just wanted to build out like your image library within your site, this is how I would do it. So again, I'm gonna go back here. So just be clicking on the search bar at the top. Under content type, choose, let's say image, or scroll down testimonial, and then click new. And then you can add that internal name and caption, and then you can upload a new image from your computer. Okay. Are there any questions so far? Okay. As you can see, I've created a lot of different pages, a lot of different things here. You'll see whether they're published, it's a draft, things like that. Getting into like creating your own blog post or custom page, you just click on one of these options here. You name the page title. So if you wanted this to be a page specifically tied to, let's just say, buyer and seller services, or um, like you wanted to talk about, or just featured luxury listings on a page, you could do that. Let's just do luxury listings in Milwaukee. You'll see internal name defaults to the exact page title. And then you have your subtitle, explore the most luxurious listings within the greater Milwaukee area. Again, you can get a little bit more creative and fun when it comes to some of these custom pages. The headers, so if I wanted to add an image, this is where I could pull from my library, and I could just search, and let's just say I'm going to grab that image that I already have in my library there. So there we go. And then page contents. So this is where you can start building out the page and adding different modules. So I can hit add module, and you'll see now I have this library of modules that I can pull in, and these are essentially just different templates. So I can just kind of scroll through, and I can see, some different listing lists. So I've got kind of the basic, the modern, the search components. So a lot of different things here. So if I wanted specifically like listings, and I wanted to keep with that modern listing list, I can choose that. And because it knows that it's a listing section, I can then choose dynamic, and I can say, all right, well, I need these to be specifically for sale listings, very similar to what we did with the featured listings on the homepage. I'm just going to do houses, and the minimum price, I'm going to do 800. So I'm going to dedicate this page to just luxury listings. And there we go. We can kind of see what that page looks like so far. All right. So again, that module is very similar to what we looked at for the homepage. And if you wanted to add anything additional underneath, same thing, just add module. If you wanted to add, let's say, a text box and write some more information in there, the text box is also really nice too, because if I add that in, let's see here. So I can go in and just title that. Let's just say, learn more about our luxury listing program. Maybe you have a specific seller's program just for luxury listings. So that's just an example. So I've got my title, and then I can add text in here so I can write a little bit more about it and formulate that. More information coming soon. And this is where I would use like Gemini or ChatGPT to kind of help me formulate some of that content. So keep that in mind as you're working on your website too. If you need some different ideas for headlines and descriptions and things like that, even alt tags for photos and how to best, go in and add content there. Using an AI model is really helpful in that case. So there I've got my page built out. Again, if I wanted to add even more modules, I certainly can do that as well. So you can always add a testimonial list if you want to highlight any statistics. I've got a couple layouts there. If you want to add a video, you can add a video module. You can embed videos into these custom pages as well. I download my app. If you want to add that home value search component, like if you didn't want its own separate page, but you wanted it to be part of another page, you can always grab that component. So again, I'm going to click on that, just to show you what that looks like. And there we go. That's that component specifically. If I'm like, okay, I want to remove that, just click that little red minus button. So play around with what's available. You've got those different layouts here. Again, the listing search module, if you want to add a listing search to one of these pages. Rich text, stat list, all of those in there. You can embed HTML, iframe. So if you wanted to embed a YouTube video in here, you could do that. Include preferred vendors. So preferred vendors are actually highlighted on your About page. So I'm not going to publish this one. I'm just going to click back and it's going to say leave. You can also save pages as a draft too and come back to them. All right. So I'm going to show one more thing. What's that be? Okay, about the agent under default pages. You are going to find that most of this is going to auto-populate from your marketing profile, but there's a section for preferred partners. And like anything, you can change the title, description, etc. But under here, it's very discreet. You're going to want to click this link here. And I found that, okay. So it's saying there's an issue connecting me to this section. So I'm not sure if it's a browser issue on my end, but typically if you click that, it's going to open up a new tab and it's going to allow you to add your preferred vendor partners, whether it's their logo, their website, their contact information, and then it's going to display on your About page. So just wanted to highlight that as well, because I think that's a huge benefit too, to kind of group those together in one spot on your website too. So again, you'd click the link and ideally it opens up a new tab. For whatever reason, it's not opening on my end, but I think it might be a browser issue on mine. All right. So once you're done editing your site and you feel good about it, then it's a matter of sharing it out. Sharing it on social media. Another great opportunity is to include links to whether it's the mortgage calculator page, the home valuation page, even just the general search properties page. If you have a Linktree that's set up through your Instagram account or other social media accounts, it's a great opportunity to highlight and bring people back to your website. So it's just a matter of grabbing that URL and pasting that into its own separate field within your Linktree. And then you can have like a search for homes or check out what's in TOSA under 400,000, or you can get really specific and detailed because you can do a search through here. Let's just say price range 400,000. And this is just, this is just recognizing my current location. I'm in TOSA today. So I could grab this link. I could share that on social media. I could share that on my Linktree. So a lot of different options there. I don't know why those pages, I must not have published them correctly, but you can grab that home valuation page, mortgage calculator page. If you're writing different blog posts, that's a great opportunity to share that out on social media. Hey guys, check out my new blog. I'm talking about what's going on in the market today in Milwaukee, what's going on with mortgage rates. Maybe you're having a conversation with your preferred lender, and then you're writing a blog post about it. The blog can also be more geared towards highlighting, let's just say you're participating in Pi Day and you have pictures and you want to do a recap of that. You know, how many pies did you get out? How many families did you provide a pie for Thanksgiving? Did you have some great conversations with past clients? Highlighting that event and some of those photos you can put together as its own blog. And then you can share that out again on socials and other opportunities. All right, well, that is all I have for today. Hopefully that was helpful in terms of how you can utilize your agent site in Command. But any questions, reach out to myself or the team. But thank you for joining me. Have a great day.